Ah, weeping woman spirits. There's just something about a ghostly figure in a white dress sobbing by the river that makes you think, ghost. Gotta have waterproof mascara, right? But have you ever noticed that across the world, these ladies seem to share the same MO? Crying, white dress, usually lurking near water. They're like a spooky sorority of sadness. Think of them like your ex after finding out you cheated with her sister. But with a more deadly consequence? Actually, wait, maybe not that different. Anyway, grab some tissues, turn off the lights. No, this isn't going to be about a bunch of hot women, although you could say these women are quite cold. In fact, you won't want to get wet after hearing these stories. You're going to be afraid of getting anywhere near water at night. Today, we're diving into the world of paranormal grief betrayal with a dash of revenge. Welcome to our deep dive on weeping women spirits from across the globe, from La Llorona in Latin America to the White Lady in the Philippines. So what is it about weeping women spirits that keeps them popping up in so many cultures? Maybe it's the flair for the dramatic. Standing by a river in a flaming white dress crying at midnight. A for aesthetics. But let's get serious for a second. These spirits have one thing in common. Besides innovative fashion, that is. And that will be tragedy. Yes, Tragedy. Tragedy. These spirits are emo with the capital M for murder. We've got a mother grieving for her lost children, a lover betrayed, and let's not forget unresolved heartbreak. These weeping women are haunted by something, and they usually make sure everyone around them feels that same emotional baggage. First up, let's talk about the ultimate tearjerker, La Llorona. Known as the Wailing Woman, she's the OG of paranormal sorrow. According to legend, La Llorona drowned her children, whether out of rage, despair, or a tragic accident. Depends on the version you hear, but the outcome is always the same. Now, she's cursed to wander riversides crying for her lost children. La Llorona isn't just another sad ghost story. She's dangerous. Her mournful cries are said to lure unsuspecting people close, where she drags them in the water to share her fate. And no, she's not giving swimming lessons either. She's been a warning in Latin American culture for centuries, dating back to the colonial era. Some scholars even believe La Llorona's story has roots in the Aztec mythology, with the goddess Chutolco, who swept for her children as the Spanish conquest began. That's right, she's been around for centuries. This legend has spread like wildfire from Mexico to Venezuela and Colombia, with each region adding its own twist. In some stories, she's tricked by a lover, and others, consumed by jealousy and betrayal. All versions, she embodies guilt and sorrow and loss. But La Llorona's legend isn't just confined to folklore. Sightings have been reported for decades, with one of the earliest modern mentions dating back to the 1930s in New Mexico. And it's not just limited to Latin America. By the 1980s, there were reports of the ghostly figure spotted along the banks of rivers in Texas and California. She's definitely gotten the most out of her frequent flyer miles, that's for sure. Some even believe her cries are a bad omen, often associated with disasters. Many sightings have been reported just before floods or other tragedies. So if you ever find yourself by a river at night and hear someone crying, maybe don't investigate, just keep walking. Seriously. And up next, we have the classic, the White Lady. We're not talking about the pale-skinned, pumpkin spice-loving kind either. This White Lady is dressed in a flowing white gown, and is about as creepy as they come, too. Every culture seems to have their version of her, whether it's Europe, the Americas, or Southeast Asia. In Philippines, she's known to haunt quiet roads and bridges, dressed in white. Her story usually involves betrayal, a tragic death, and an endless loop of haunting unsuspecting travelers. And if you're driving alone and suddenly you see her in the rearview mirror, well, this isn't your typical hitchhiker. White ladies, especially in the Philippines, have a habit of just showing up, causing accidents, or giving drivers the scare of their lives. The worst kind of backseat driver, if you ask me. But it's not just the Philippines, you'll find white ladies in other cultures too. In Germany, she's said to be a noble woman who haunts castles. In England, there are countless stories of white ladies lingering around old ruins. And if that's not spooky enough, some say spirits don't just haunt the living, they also show up in dreams as bad omens too. Talk about a dream girl. In Brazil, their version of the white lady, known as Dama Branca, often seen as a woman scorned. Whether it's heartbreak, murder, or betrayal, these spirits are fueled by a major sense of injustice. And honestly, they're not letting go anytime soon either. Now let's head over to Japan for a spirit with fewer tears, way more questions. Enter Kuchisake-onna, the slit-mouthed woman. This spirit doesn't weep, but she does have a pretty intense habit, stopping people in dark alleyways and asking one simple question: am I beautiful? Yes, it's a loaded question for sure. Think of it like your wife asking you, do I look fat in this? But this is much, much deadlier, folks. If you say yes, she will remove her mask to reveal her horrific grin. And she'll ask again, say no, or scream, and you're in trouble. You might just get a matching smile. Spoiler, there is no safe answer here. The best advice? Just avoid the conversation altogether. If a masked stranger asks you about their looks in a dimly lit alleyway, pretend you don't know Japanese. Heck, pretend you don't even know English. Just act deaf, dumb, and blind. Kuchisake-onna legend first gained widespread prominence in Japan in the late 1970s, and rumors of sightings caused urban panic, especially among school children. Stories spread so fast like wildfire that many claim to have seen her lurking around schools and parks. Most of these sightings are likely driven by local gossip, and maybe some even by sake. Her tale has sparked fear across Japan. In recent years, there haven't been many modern sightings at all, but Kuchisake-onna lives on through pop culture. She's a frequent figure in Japan horror movies, TV shows, and comics as well. Her legend's been kept alive all these years. Every now and then, the story will resurface, especially in schools, as part of Japan's rich tradition of urban myths. And here is the quirky part. Some believe you can escape her by offering candy, money, or even distracting her with your own question. Like, for example, do you think I'm pretty? So if you're ever in Japan and happen to be on a green tea Kit Kat binge, make sure to keep one safe, just in case. And now we take a stop in Southeast Asia, home to the Kuntilanak, a vengeful spirit from Indonesia and Malaysia. This one's got some serious commitment to scaring the pants out of people. The Kuntilanak is said to be the spirit of a woman who died tragically during childbirth. But don't be fooled by her sorrowful appearance. Once you get too close, she reveals her true terrifying form and attacks. Yep, that's right folks. She goes Super Saiyan. She is often seen hiding in trees or appearing as a beautiful woman to lure unsuspecting victims, usually men, before transforming into a more ghastly version of herself. Just like online dating. Let's just say, if you're a guy in Southeast Asia, you might want to be a bit cautious walking near tall trees at night. Her laugh is also a signature sound. The louder it gets, the further away she actually is, making her deceptively tricky to avoid. The Kuntilanak story goes way back. In fact, she's believed to have roots in Malay folklore, where she's known as the Pontianak, a spirit that preys on men. Historically, she was the subject of countless village warnings, a way to keep people, especially men, from wandering into dangerous areas alone. What makes her different from other weeping women is that she's not just about sorrow, she's out for blood, revenge, and fear. And she's good at it, too. There's particularly a creepy twist. Some believe the Kuntilanak can transform into a bird to sweep down on her victims, adding an aerial element to this already terrifying repertoire. So if you're in the jungle and hear some fluttering, maybe don't look up. But here's the thing, she's not just an ancient myth. There have been recent reports of sightings of the kuntilanak in rural areas of Indonesia and Malaysia. Some villagers claim to have heard her eerie laughter late at night, while others have reported seeing her ghostly figure near trees and old buildings. In fact, in 2019, there were multiple reports of the kuntilanak sightings in West Kalimantan, Indonesia, causing local panic. Several witnesses claim to have seen her near abandoned houses. Some even heard her signature laugh echoing through the night. These sightings may not be as common in urban areas, but the fear of the kuntilanak remains strong, especially in more remote regions. In local news, she sometimes makes headlines with new sightings every few weeks, keeping her legend alive and well. And honestly, who needs horror when you got the real thing lurking in your backyard? So what ties these ghostly vixens together? Aside from their impressive sobbing skills and resumes, one word: grief. Let's not forget the betrayal and vengeance part either. Whether it's La Llorona's guilt over her lost children, Kuchisake-onna's fury over her disfigurement, the White Lady's heartbreak, or the kuntilanak's revenge, these women are haunted by their past. But they're not just crying about it, they're out for some ghostly justice. What's fascinating is that these themes of grief, betrayal, and vengeance aren't just limited to Latin America or Asia. They're universal. You can find variations of weeping women spirits in nearly every culture around the world. Take Ireland, for example. There's the banshee, whose mournful wails are said to be a harbinger of death. While she doesn't actively cause harm, like La Llorona or Kuchisake-onna, the cries are a powerful symbol of impending loss. Over in Africa, there is the ghostly Madame Coco, a spirit who known to haunt boarding schools in Nigeria. Her backstory? Betrayal and a tragic death, just like so many others. In Slavic folklore, we have the Rusaka, a spirit of a woman who died tragically, often by drowning, who lures unsuspecting men into lakes and rivers, much like La Llorona. These spirits also represent unresolved emotional trauma and anger, often targeting those who remind them of the past suffering. It's remarkable how these legends evolve across continents, but still center around the same emotions. Like a broken record, folks, it's grief, betrayal, and vengeance. All universal experiences here. Perhaps these stories reflect how humans, regardless of where they come from, are deeply affected by loss and injustice. Across the world, people tell these tales not just to entertain, but also to give meaning to the things we fear the most: losing loved ones, facing betrayal, and dealing with guilt or unresolved emotions. These weeping women legends aren't just spooky stories, they're windows into the collective human experience, whether it's La Llorona near a river, the White Lady on a dark road, or Kuchisake-onna in a back alley. They remind us that sorrow and betrayal know no boundaries. They're as much a part of us as the stories themselves. At the end of the day, weeping women's spirits aren't just spooky bedtime stories. They're symbols of unresolved emotion, betrayal, and a healthy dose of ghostly justice. Whether they're crying by riversides, asking dangerous questions in alleyways, hiding in trees, or waiting for you on dark roads, they're reminders that some heartbreaks, they last way past their expiration date. So thanks for joining me on this slightly spooky journey into the world of weeping women's spirits and ghostly Karens. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon for more paranormal deep dives. And remember, if you hear crying by the water or smell something sweet near a tree, it's not a real woman. Just like the internet, walk away. These ladies have enough drama for the both of you.